No one screamed at first. The woman only noticed because her coworker stopped talking mid-sentence. He had been complaining about the coffee machine again, how it always burned the pot after 10, how management never listened. His mouth was still open when the sunlight touched his face. It wasn't a burn. That was what confused her. His skin didn't blacken or blister. Instead, it softened. His cheek sagged slightly, like wax left too close to a flame. He raised a hand to his face, fingers trembling, and when he pulled them away, they stretched threads of flesh clinging for a moment before sliding back into place. What he tried to say, the rest of the office finally noticed. Someone laughed nervously, thinking it was a joke. Someone else swore. A chair scraped backward as the man staggered, bumping into a desk. His features continued to slip, eyes sinking, nose losing definition, his voice collapsing into wet, breathless sounds. All he had done was open the curtains. Sunlight poured through the windows, bright and ordinary, spilling across the carpet like it had every other morning. But now, wherever it touched bare skin, people recoiled. "Get away from the windows!" Someone shouted. Too late. The man collapsed in on himself, body folding downward as if gravity had suddenly doubled. What remained was no longer shaped like a person. The woman felt her stomach drop, a cold instinct screaming at her to move. Sit. Run. She ducked behind a dividing wall just as the light advanced farther into the room. Around her, coworkers screamed. Others froze, trapped in shock. She heard the sound's soft impacts, choking gasps, the horrible quiet that followed. When the sunlight finally passed, the office was still. 20 minutes earlier, she had been updating financial forecasts and counting down to lunch. Now, she crouched in darkness, hands shaking, surrounded by shapes on the floor that refused to look human anymore. No one moved for a long time. The survivors hid whatever shadows were deepest under desks, behind walls, inside storied rooms. Some cried, some whispered prayers. Some stared blankly at nothing at all. The woman forced herself to think. It was the sun, or something in the sun. Radiation. Some chemical reaction in the atmosphere. A solar flare? She didn't know. No one did. Phones barely worked. News sites froze or showed the same looping headlines, each one worse than the last. Reports came in from everywhere. People collapsing in the streets, drivers slumping at intersections, airports going silent. By sunset, entire cities had gone dark, not because the lights were off, but because no one was left to turn them on. The world ended quietly. That night, screens flickered back to life. Every monitor in the office displayed the same symbol. A simple, unfamiliar mark. Stark against a black background. A voice, Follokum, tired, unmistakably human. It didn't introduce itself. It didn't claim to be a government, a military, or a corporation. It only told them what little was known. Sunlight exposure was fatal. The transformation was irreversible. Those affected were no longer considered human. Avoid light at all costs. Wait for darkness before moving. Shelter was survival, the message repeated. Over and over. No promises. No rescue timeline. The woman barely heard it. She was thinking about her wife, halfway across the country, on a business retreat, somewhere outdoors. Her hands shook as she dialed. When her wife answered, alive, breathing, the woman slid down the wall and cried silently into her sleeve. She had survived by accident, trapped inside a sauna tent when the light changed. They talked quickly, urgently, knowing connections wouldn't last. They agreed to meet an old movie theater, one they both loved. Dark, windowless, safe. At least, they hoped. Travel became a nightmare almost immediately. During the day, no one moved. Even indirect light felt dangerous. Reflections, glare, moonlight, nothing could be trusted anymore. At night, survivors emerged cautiously, wrapped head to toe in fabric. Trash bags, anything that blocked the sky. Roads clogged with abandoned cars. Some were empty, some weren't. Planes fell out of the air when pilots were caught mid-flight. Power stations shut down. Water systems failed. The internet flickered and hadn't died. Civilization didn't collapse in flames. It simply soft, sagged, slipped apart. The woman traveled only at night. She layered clothing obsessively. Wetsuit fabric, rain slickers, gloves taped at the seams, mirrored goggles pulled tight. She counted steps, counted hours, slept in closets, basements, anywhere sealed from even the suggestion of light. Days blurred together. That was when she heard movement inside the cars. At first, she told herself it was animals, rats, dogs, anything normal. Then, a window bulged outward. Something pressed against the glass from the inside, spreading like dough under pressure. The window cracked, gave way. The thing that slid out left a wet trail behind it. It wasn't liquid. Not exactly. It held shape when it wanted to. It lifted itself, forming something like a torso, something like a face. And then it spoke. The voice was wrong too familiar, stretched thin. The woman ran. The changed followed. They didn't move fast, but they didn't titire. They pulled themselves forward, reshaping constantly, whispering, calling, promising safety, promising light. She learned then that they weren't dead, and where some part of them remembered being alive. Mont Basith. The rule became simple. Never stop moving for long. Never sleep exposed. Never assume silence meant safety. The changed learned. They adapted. They waited in shadows. They followed survivors at a distance. Sometimes they gathered. She saw it once from a rooftop, dozens of them merging into a single mass. Arms and faces surfacing and sinking again, like something breathing underwater. It dragged itself through the street, testing buildings, probing for darkness. A predator made of people. Hope thinned, but it didn't vanish. She kept moving because her wife was still out there. Because stopping meant surrender. Because darkness, somehow, still belonged to her. At last, she reached the place they promised to meet. The old theater loomed like a tomb, its doors hanging open, its lobby swallowed by dust and silence. She crept inside, heart pounding, every sense stretched tight. Scream 3. There, scream. She opened the door. Her wife stood there. She smiled. Relief surged and froze. The smile was wrong. Too still, too patient. Honey, her wife said softly, voice thick and wet. You made it. The woman understood then. The light hadn't just changed bodies. It had changed what waited inside them. And somewhere beyond the walls, the sun was already rising again.